Hello and welcome to the next video in the Creative Christmas series. And today I have my little name plaque here that I didn't pull out yet, but we are going to making a paper angel ornament. Now this project again can be added to your journal. It can be this is a canvas the original canvas that I did several years ago, and I have made ornaments using this canvas for I think over 5 years, I believe. So I do a print and then I do, excuse me, and then I put it on an ornament. So, but today I'm going to show you how to make this little mixed media piece. And again, this could be something that you could add into a corner page of your journal, or you could actually put it on a huge page, or you can make cards, or whatever the case may be. But these are super fun little projects to do because I love layering paper and I love doing like decoupage and adding paint and all the little different things that come with this project. So first off, if you got the kit, you got a doily, you got some hymnal paper. I'm going to be using some hymnal paper of Oh Holy Night, because I'm also going to be using the title in part of this project, because I am going to do it a little bit different than what I originally had. I could not find my white doilies. I have no idea. So I'm going to be using pink, but again, you can use whatever color you want, because remember, you can always add paint, so you don't have to have a pink, you don't have to use a certain color doily as long as you have, this is part of the project. If you don't have a paper doily, that's fine too. You could just use regular paper. To me, it's just, I like using different kind of material in my project, so that's one of the reasons I love to use this. And plus, it kind of gives it a really cool looking texture in the back. Let's see, what else? Oh, speaking of the ornaments, this is what I pick up every year from Hobby Lobby. I always buy them out because I use these all the time, and these make such great projects because you can make your own ornaments. And now if you don't have a Hobby Lobby, or you don't have access to the paper mache, you can easily like punch out. My idea would be is to punch out 2 circles cardstock and glue them together to kind of create a sturdy surface. You could use, I think that's pretty much what my idea would be, is to just use some cardstock. You also, if you have any of those little wooden ornaments, those would work too. So pretty much anything that is going to create a surface of some stability. So those are what I get, and that's what was included in the kit. Now what I already did, just so I didn't have to paint and dry on the video, I already painted both sides. So what I did was I used a gesso, but if you don't have gesso, you can easily use white paint as a surface, as to kind of prepare the surface. And then I used a light blue, this is called spa blue, and mine was really kind of, it's weird how this paint's so different sometimes. I don't know if it's just because of the coloring, but this is almost kind of watery down, which I really like that because it kind of like had the white come through a little bit. So I'm perfectly fine with that, because you got to remember, this is just kind of a background look. Again, if you have whatever color tree you're doing, if you wanted to do pink or whatever the case is, you could easily paint, you could change it however you would like. So, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, on the ornaments itself, I always put trim, but I thought what I would do this time, I'm just going to paint mine, because I think that's just, you know, it's one less item that you need for your project, but also, I'm totally fine with that. You could put ribbon, you could put, actually I was thinking, oh wow, how would this look? You could do this, you could put your fun tinsel on the edges, it's up to you. But I am going to paint mine today. So the colors that I'm going to be using, I use my blue for the background. I have my flesh tone. Again, you can change the flesh tone whatever you like. The hair color. I was going to talk about that too in just a moment, about the hair color. I'll just do it right now. But I've had ladies come up whenever I'm doing shows, and they want, because they would love to buy little angel ornaments for their granddaughters and or nieces or anything like that, and they always want the different color hair. And I always think from year to year, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do brown hair, red hair, and I never do. I always have this one angel ornament, but that's also an idea, is to, you can change the hair color however you like it. Okay, so then I have my hair color, which I'm going to be doing yellow, even though I thought about kind of doing a pink hair. I don't know why I'm obsessed with pink hair. I've been obsessed with pink hair. Lots of my art pieces have pink hair, but I have the yellow out. I could change my mind. I have two different color greens. I have a darker green and a lighter green. This is festive green and sour apple. Sour apple is one of my absolute favorite colors. I go through that all the time. I love that color. But the reason I got the two-tone is because we're going to start with a base, and then we're going to come through and add some highlights. So that's with that. I have plain winter white paint, and then I have this Christmas red. You can actually use whatever color you want. This is red. You don't have to have Christmas red. The reason I just pulled this out, and this is what happened to be, and I was like, oh, well, isn't that perfect? But this is just to make the berries and the holly on her wreath, her head piece. So, okay, so basically you're going to cover, I just use one coat, basic, just to kind of add a surface to this. I think I'm going to use this side because this side I'm going to be using, that's where I talked about using my hymnal page. I'm going to be using the Oh Holy Night. I actually thought it was a lot bigger, so I may actually handwrite it, but I'm just going to use this side to start my project. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your paper doily, and mine, again, I try to get it to where it fits within, because they are the wings, but I think this one is a little bit wider, so I think I'm only going to be using like 1/4 of this doily here. So I'm just going to bend it like that. Oh yeah, you will need scissors. Oh, also, sorry to back up just a second there. You will need a stamp, because basically I'm just putting some background. You do not have to have a stamp. I just used this random acorn stamp. I couldn't find the one that I had used here, but it's just to make swirlies. You can do that with pen work, because I do have a pen. You will need this. This is my favorite pen, the Micron, actually 08 is my favorite, but this one will work too, because I use this for all the pen work. I do a lot of outlining, as you can see on my artwork, and so this is what the pen that I use. I think I have an 08 right here. Yeah, I use the 08. It's a little bit thicker, so that's why I like that. Then I also have a punch, which I punched this little star here, but you can easily draw a star, or you can punch. She can hold a wreath. She can hold anything that you want her to hold. You don't have to actually have a paper punch of the actual project, because you can always hand draw it. She could hold a heart, which would be really cute. Anyway, so let your imagination flow. Okay, so we're gonna just take this piece of doily here, and we're going to cut along here like that. And we're gonna see what it looks like, if it fits. Excuse me, I got the sniffles this morning. Okay, so we're gonna just add her to that, and then we can always cut that off, or I think if we take it a little bit smaller, it'll fit better. Okay. Oh, another thing. Sorry, as I move along here, I'm starting to think of other things that you need. You need glue. You need glue. We gotta have some glue. I'm going to be using my favorite glue that I like when I do my projects. It's this Collage Podge, but you can easily use any kind of, you could use this matte medium. This works great too. I love this stuff. It's real thin. It's not, doesn't take a long time to dry either. So we're going to add the wings here. And I just pick a random brush. Kind of an older one. Actually, I like my older one. But just you're going to immediately put this in water, so it's not going to ruin your paintbrushes. But I like to use an old one just in case it doesn't. You have to really wash these out. This one's, or one that you don't really use that often. That's typically what I do. because I have ruined many paintbrushes. I don't buy expensive paintbrushes unless it's for like really detailed work. I will. I don't pay. I say I don't pay expensive. I don't. When you look at some artists and what they pay for a paintbrush, I think the most expensive one I've ever bought was for my watercolor. Put that right in the middle, because you want to think about, these are her wings, so you want to have room for her head and her crown and her body. So I'm just going to glue that on here like that. But I think the most I paid for was a watercolor paintbrush, because I wanted a really thick one, you know, to blot watercolor on the backdrop of paper. Okay, and then we're going to go just like that. I've got glue all over my hand, no big deal. It's a get messy kind of project. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is move the glue out of the way. Oh, I'm making a mess, aren't I? No problem. We're just going to put that paintbrush on there because I'm not going to use it again. Let's move some things out of the way here. Get us some space going on. Okay. Then we're going to come in with the paper and we're going to draw her outfit out of the music sheet. So, I may include I may do that on my blog, is to do a dress I'll do a dress shape, so go to the blog, pull that off, and that way if you're kind of stuck on, I can't cut the dress out, it's not working out, you can trace it onto here. So I'm going to offer that. Let me write that down because we don't want to forget that. I'm going to actually take me a little piece off of here and write myself a note. I'm so glad you guys are doing this along with me and have patience. At least I hope you have patience while I do this. So we're going to do the dress shape. Sometimes you don't know what you need exactly until you really start getting into the project, because like I said, when I'm doing things, I'm not thinking about, oh, you need this, you need this. I just kind of look at it. So I am going to kind of look at here. Yeah, this would be good. I'll offer a dress shape for you guys, so that way you have that. And I am literally eyeballing this, so I'm going to probably have to play around with this a little bit because it's probably going to be too big, but I'd rather it be too big than too small, because you can start cutting it down if it's too big. So I'm just going to cut that out of the music sheets. Erasing those pencil marks on there. Okay, let's see how she is. Yeah, so I'm going to come up here like this. Maybe trim off her edges a little bit. Oh, I'm pretty impressed. And then I'm going to come in here after I glue it and trim off the edges. So we're going to go ahead and get this glued down. I have to say, for a first stop shop, that was pretty good. Okay, so I'm just going to lay this because I want those angel wings right there, and I still want room for her face. I'm just going to come in here and trim this along the edges. Ta-da! I actually think on this one, these are actually paper arms. Can you believe it? I'd cut everything in paper, but we're going to draw those arms in on this one. Okay. So we're going to let that glue dry. We're going to let this dry. And then we're going to come back and add some paint. Okay, so now that that's dry, we're going to come in here and kind of sketch out her face. Now, what I typically do when I'm sketching, just because this isn't the typical pencil I use, but I usually use a really light pencil, but that way, what I like to do is do kind of like dashes, just to kind of get a shape down. So I'll just kind of go like this, and then like this. So you're not doing a hard drawn line. You're just kind of doing some dashes. See? Just like that. Can y'all? There we go. See that? Okay, so we're going to get your skin tone, whatever skin tone you want to use on your project, and get your paintbrush. I used to be very fond of the flat edge paintbrushes, but over time I've found myself using these the rounded ones. So in these kind of projects, to me, it's whatever you're comfortable with. And we're just going to come in and paint the face. We're going to do another layer, because I could have used gesso as a base, but this, since I've already kind of used it on the actual ornament, unless I was using like unless I had a really dark color, like if you had like say for instance, if you were doing a navy background, like a really dark blue or a dark red or something like that, then I would definitely come in and actually use either white paint or gesso to kind of be able to, depending on your skin tone also, but if you're using a lighter skin tone, then you're going to want to definitely kind of put a layer down, because it would take forever for it to, not forever, but you would have to put several layers on their faces, and you could just put the gesso and then put your skin tone if you have a darker background other than the light blue. Okay, now going into the dress color, I did like, this looks more like a tan. I think that was the color of the paper, because I didn't actually use the white paper. But I'm going to be using, that was one of the colors I did not put out here. So what color angel dress? I personally like, see, this is like a tan color. I personally like the tan color. I really want, no matter what color I use, I really want the music to come through, because that's part of, to me, is part of the actual art piece, is the music. So I think I'm going to do pink, because her pink wings, and I have a pink Christmas tree in my studio this year, so she's going to be going on to my studio. Oh, I wanted to also point out, I don't know if I want that bright pink, I want more of a light pink. Also wanted to point out, these make great tags for like outside of ornament. Them themselves are a great gift, don't get me wrong. But if you wanted to put them on a gift, like as a tag, that you could write the person's name on the back so they get an ornament and a gift. This makes a great little piece to put on the outside. Let's see here. I really am looking for my, here we go. This pink balloon will work. I was looking for that poodle skirt pink color. And what you could do also, which is what I'm going to do here, is kind of tone it down with white. So let me get me a little art palette thingy, aka paper plate. And I'm just going to put a little blob here, since we have such a little bitty art piece that we're working on. And then I'm going to add a little touch of white. Actually, I'm going to use, yeah, I'll use this white. Sometimes if I'm wanting to do, if I'm doing like a bigger piece that I really want coverage, I'll use, this is like my favorite go-to white, is this Master's Touch. This is a Hobby Lobby brand, and so I love this acrylic paint. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of mix these two and get it like a really lighter tone. Keep it in mind that I want to be able to see my music sheets. Let's see what we got once we put it on there. Do we get to see them below? Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So the thinner you make it, like I gotta get this to stretch out so I can see those music notes underneath. Yep, that's exactly what I was going for right here. Because I love, I add a lot of music notes to my art pieces, and I love that. And I really love it when I get comments like, oh, did you mean to add this? Because it'll be like kind of towards the project. For instance, this is Oh Holy Night, so with the angels, you know, like you could also do like Hark the Herald Angels. I did look for that, don't get me wrong, because for one, the kit this month is Hark, and which is reference to Hark the Herald Angels, and I must have included that. I'm just going over the wings at this point, and like I said, I'm kind of being, you know, messy, and that's okay. I think I'm going to add a little bit of water, so I'm just going to put my paintbrush in my water, and because I don't want that dark, let me move my art palette. I want to still be able to see the doily underneath, so I'm just going to but I wanted it to be a little lighter pink, so I'm just going to bat those so you can still see the edges. Okay. Now, moving into the hair. I'm going to get my yellow out. Again, this is where you can kind of come in and change. This yellow is a little bit on the... Yellow, I don't know if anybody else has this issue. Let me get my art palette out. But yellow, I have some of the hardest time finding good yellows. They always end up like clumping. And I mean, I have tried, this is craft paint, by the way, the yellow I'm talking about. This is actually pretty good. Like I said, I love this Master's Touch, and they run it on sale at Hobby Lobby, so anytime they run it on sale, I try to like add to my, because it's 50% off, I add to my collection, because I do use it a lot. But I noticed with my craft paint yellow, I don't know, it gets clumpy, it's not dark enough, I don't know, I've had issues from all the time on that. So I'm going to add a little bit. I'm just mixing these two yellows together. And taking some art courses, I've always heard that it's always good to add 3 different, not like mix them like I'm doing now, but when you're doing a hair color is to have like 3 different colors to create more of a realistic, I guess. So I'm going to just kind of come through, and I'm going to give her a flip. She's not bald on top there, but because we're going to be adding that wreath there. I'm just going to give her a little flip here. And again, if you need to, I can tell right there that's too much on her face. If you need to sketch it out, that may make you feel more comfortable, so that you know that, like for instance, for me, I know that's too much on her face right there, but I'm okay with it because I'm going to come in with my paintbrush and some water and take that off. Now, and I always say this, if you make a mistake, especially with acrylic, super forgiving, because you wait for it to dry and you add another layer on. So don't feel stressed if your hair doesn't turn out, or your face is wonky or something like that. And personally, I think wonky can be good. I just want to make sure I have enough space, because I've had where I start adding hair and next thing you know, there's no face left. There's no face surface left. Or there is, but it's just, it looks like she's got a crowded face. Pat her dry. Like I said, see, it's got yellow on there. I'm going to show you how easy that is to repair. Okay, so we've got her hair down, we got her body. Let's work on her arms. Now, with her arms, to me, I'm going to put sleeves on her. So I'm going to go in with a darker pink and a paintbrush. Let's see if we got... I have a lot of little paintbrushes everywhere, so I just am grabbing them as I go instead of like cleaning the ones I've been using, but you don't have to do that. Okay, I'm going to sketch this out so that way I don't get crazy, because it is a darker color and I don't want to have it where she, again, I just use dashes. That way if I have to erase, it's not this dark line. And so she's going to be holding the star. Let me get my little star out. And again, you can use your punch. I use the punch. You can, you know, actually, I think I'm going to have her do a heart. So that way I can show you guys. Let me get a piece of paper here. So I'm going to get a piece of pink paper. And I'm going to cut a corner off. And I'm just going to... I like wonky shapes where they're not just perfect. And I'm just going to have this. And you know what I just thought of? Let's see something. Where's my... Oh, Holy Night. Let's see what we got here. I'm going to cut out my label, my title of my song. And I don't know if it would fit. No, that's okay. So, she's going to be holding a heart though. So I'm going to come in here with her. As you can see, I've kind of put the dashes in for her arms. And I'm just going to come in here and fill that in. See how you can see the paint through there? But that's okay, because we're going to be coming through and doing some pen work also. Now keep in mind, I did do this with paper, so that is something you could always do with paper as well. Now what I want to do with this pink is I'm just going to kind of outline her dress. And I'm not doing like a... It's just using up the rest of it that's on my brush. So you're still seeing the music through here. And I wonder if I should have done like a darker pink. Oh, that's so cute. Okay, I'm fine with this. I think it looks so good. Okay, so we're going to get our glue paintbrush, which is right here. And we're just going to add a piece of glue. If you have your star, you're going to put glue on the back side of it. And I'm going to do mine as a slant. Like I said, I kind of like my stuff a little not right on, you know, perfectly. Okay. So we need to come in and get her little face kind of fixed a little bit. When we were going to do another layer anyway, but since we got some paint on it, let me find another paintbrush. We're just going to take our skin tone color and do another layer. Okay. I'm going to let that dry. And while we're letting the face dry, because that's what we're going to work on next in her head, is we're going to, we could come in here with our white paint and add a little background. Just swirls. I'm just going to add a few swirls here and there. Nothing too much. maybe outline her wings a little. So they kind of, you're just kind of following the shape of the paper doily. And then I may just put some little wispies in here. Like that. We could maybe come in here and outline the heart. This would be a great place to put a name too if you're going to give this as a friend or create a tag. Okay. This little piece is kind of, don't want to get paint. I've gotten paint on these, so the hangers as well. Okay, so let's come in here and start with our holly at the top. So I kind of did little, I call them little wispies because they're not, you're just kind of having some greenery. And I took a really fine point. And if you don't have one, I just put barely any on the tip there. And I just kind of come in and do little wispies like this. Kind of like little branches. And keep in mind we're going to be adding a lighter color up here to give it some color, and then we're also going to be doing some pen work, so that's going to create more of a look. Okay, I'm going to save that pen aside because when we come in, I'm going to go ahead and clean that paintbrush and put it aside so I have that. For her face, so I'm just going to, like, again, come in with my pencil and ever so lightly kind of play around with her. I always do heart lips, but again, you can kind of do what you're comfortable with or what you want to do. Come in here with my red and give her some pretty red lips. Use my fine tip. One of the other things, there we go, that I just thought of is I like to do some pencil work, some watercolor pencil work, and I'll show you guys that too. I'm going to use my light pink to create cheeks. And her hair is probably dry, so let's come in and add another shade. I'm going to use that darker yellow. And I'm just going to kind of add give her a little bit of bangs there because her forehead was looking quite. And then you could kind of come in on, again, what we're doing is we're just adding different shades of yellow. So I'm going to come in on top of that and put the light color. Do you guys see that? Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. Adjust the camera. See the different color yellows. And then what I'll do is, once that dries, I'm going to come in and add a little bit of highlights in there with white. Okay. Now, Excuse me. Okay, so what is next? Is the green. See, this paint dries extremely fast, so that's really, really good. So I'm going to come in with a lighter color. Where's my paintbrush that I was cleaning? I'm going to come in with a lighter color and do the same thing with the wispies. Okay. Okay, so while we get that to dry, we're going to use some pencil work. I love watercolor pencils for doing outlining. And so I'm going to do a pink. And I always use this, as you can tell, I've kind of used it quite a bit. I use Faber-Castell. This is Brazil. I bought these Fine Touch. This was another Hobby Lobby brand. Not as fond of it as I have used these for years and I love them. They're great. This Faber-Castell. So I probably would like to invest in some more of these, more colors. The reason I bought these because they were on sale. I'm not dogging them, but they're not good, but they're not as good as these. What I like, I guess maybe I'm used to these and these work a lot better for me. So I'm just going to come in here and kind of outline our neck area. And what's cool about these is if you I don't know why I got some blue right there. But once you add a little bit of, you can come in here with some water, which I'm going to buy my little spray bottle here. So I don't use that yucky water. I've been cleaning my paintbrushes in. And you can see it makes it shadow. So you're activating the pencil. And if you add too much, like for instance, I don't know where that blue came from. See, I can make it go away. So I love this. And what I really like about this is if you get it when it's wet, it really shows up. But see, I was like, oh, why did I do that? Then you can kind of come in and shade it a little. And that's what I love about these is I use them a lot for shading. Sometimes too much shading. Okay. And you can always clean them up. That's what's so fun about these markers. Pencils. So I'm just going to kind of come in here and really and truly I'm just adding some shading with the pencil. And sometimes I activate it and sometimes I don't. But it's just nice to be able to, I'm going to show you guys. I'm just going to kind of color this in. And then it's just nice to be able to add, you can do this with paint as well. Just kind of use it, get a darker color. I just like the pencils because they're very forgiving. Okay. And I'm going to leave that pencil work on the heart because it gives it offsets it a little bit from that rest of the pink. Okay. So is the hair, yep, the hair is still drying, but the holly is dry. So we're going to come in with our red paint. We're just going to add dots for the berries. Easy peasy. And I just take the very end of the paintbrush and then just add little little dots. Ta-da! Okay. Now we're going to let that dry. How's the hair doing? Hair is still drying. Okay, so we're going to set that aside. And I think at this point we can come back and do our pin work and our stamping. Okay, our little angel is dry. So I'm just going to kind of come in here and again with my watercolor pencil and just kind of add just some shading in to the green a little bit. Now we're ready to do our pen work. So basically what I do is I kind of just, this is like an accent, I just kind of highlight things. And I'm going to start with her eyes. And this is the micron, oh, wrong one, where's my, 08, okay. And again, you don't have to have it, I mean, also you can do this with black paint, or you can do it with, if you don't really like the black look on your artwork, you could do it with your pencils, or, but I think it just kind of adds the final touch. So I got her eyes. Sometimes I like to put little eyelashes out here like that. Now if you make a mistake, what I normally would do is kind of get the water and wipe it down as best as you can. And then you can kind of come in here with, you'll have to repaint it. So you could, again, once it's dry, you can add another layer of paint to that. And so I'm just going to actually just kind of come in here and just start outlining her a little bit. And it's not a hard press, it's actually just little wispies is what I call them. I kind of circle the little berries. And again, when I'm doing mine, I do it kind of wonky. I just kind of come in here and do little wispies and little, just like you would see on branches. Just toot toot toot, and then you can like do one long one and do some small ones off of there. And then I just kind of come in and kind of probably when I did this original, I could have straightened out her shoulders a little bit. But I think it's just fine. Now down here, if you wanted to, you could add more greenery. Seems like I added some little white clouds, but on this one, I'm just going to use my pen and finish it up with making some pen work around the bottom of her. Come in and do the heart. Alright, so there you have her now. We're going to take our ink pad, and this is actually a acorns, but I'm just using it for detail work on the edges here. You're not going to see the actual, I guess you could see the actual acorns, but I'm just kind of using it as background. Like that. So it's not like you're stamping out your actual acorn. Alright, there we have it. Now on the back side. And I think this is dry. May need to dry a little bit. I wonder if I have my dryer hooked up. I don't. I'm just going to whiz over this real quick with my dryer. And that way I don't smear that ink. You know what, I just thought of what would be really pretty too is if you embossed some work on that. That would be pretty. Okay, going to the other side. I had originally thought this was going to be big enough to put Oh Holy Night, because on my original art piece I have Holy, Holy, Holy. I could offer that. But I think I'm going to look at these die cuts. This is where you can kind of write things. You can put die cuts. I was just, like I said, I may offer this, I'll put this on my, let me write that down, along with the shape. I'm going to put this on my blog as well, so if you want to print this out and put this on the back, you could definitely can. Holy backing. And that way, you have that possibility. I think I'm going to use one of these die cuts. This is one of the die cuts that came in the, actually, they're available on the 8th. They were available on the 8th, so, we'll see. They may be still available when this runs. So you can use Merry Christmas, Peace on Earth, Joy to the World. I like that Joy to the World. You could write it out. I'm just going to use this because I had them sitting right here, and because I think it's perfect for this project. So let's get the glue. But also, if you wanted to use Oh Holy Night, you could, I may have one that says Oh Holy Night. Maybe I'll make one too that says Oh Holy Night. Let me write that down. You guys, thanks for being patient with me on this. So we're going to want Oh Holy Night. Okay. That way I do not forget. So we're going to get glue. Do we have our handy dandy glue paintbrush here? Here we go. You don't have to use the same one. I just found because, whoops, whew, really got a bunch on there. So I'm just going to add this to the back. I'm going to squish it out too, so a lot of it will come out. Let me back up a little bit here so you guys can see what I'm doing. Whoops. Okay. I don't know if you missed this. This was the pack that comes in the kit. So that's what I was digging around with. I think I was digging around off camera. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is take my green paint and I'm just going to kind of go around it like I did her little holly around her head. So I'm just going to kind of take this and do little wispies just like we did before. If you're not comfortable doing this, you could just paint, or you could do doodles around there. I can get some on the paintbrush. Okay. I don't feel like I have to go all the way around. I mean, just at the top and the bottom. Actually, kind of liking that, where it's around the edging. And then you have just a few little wispies here and there coming off. I hear my phone ringing, but I'll get it in just a second. And so I'm just going to go just kind of have some greenery like Christmas. Okay, I'm going to come in with my lighter color here. And fill it in a bit. Okay, kind of looks like a jungle theme, doesn't it? Let's get some berries in there to really get that Christmas look down. And then I'm going to let this dry so we can come in and do a little bit of pen work. Okay. Alright, let's see what we got. And this is where you can paint the edges. I think I'm going to come back and paint mine maybe a blue. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and just paint mine another blue color. Just kind of run over it and I'm just going to paint my edges again. Now you have to be careful because when I paint my edges, they do go over, and I'm going to show you if I do. See how it goes over? I just come with my finger and wipe it off. See, it's on her wing. So that is one of the things you need to be careful with. See, if you get it on there, you just kind of run. Oh no, look what I did. Remember, it's okay to have a little mistake. Because we can come and fix it. I got my greenery messed up. You gotta be careful. I was supposed to let that dry. But see how we just get it? We can just kind of run the edges. But just keep an eye on those fronts because you don't want to have any to cover up your artwork on either side. But I'm just going to paint mine a little blue. It's got a little bit here. I'm just going to dab it off with my finger like that. Turn it over. We're going to let that dry and then come back in and do some pen work just like we did on the front. But I think before I totally get off I gotta totally let that dry. I'm gonna take a glitter pen and just go over this with glitter. As you know, I love sparkle, so we have to have some sparkle on our projects. There. One more thing, let me fix that little cherry, that little holly on there. Once I come in with the pen, it'll look a lot more, wonky, but perfect. Okay, so we're going to let that dry.